Hello, my name is Charles Kuntz. I'm the treasurer of the Merrimack County Democrats, and I live in Hopkinton, New Hampshire.
Hey everybody, we are Merrimack County Democrats, and we can't wait to vote on November 3rd for who?
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris
And Dan Feltus.
Hi, my name is Janice Kelby, and I'm an at-large member of the Merrimack County Democrats. I live in Hooksett, and Chris said if we wanted to mention a particular candidate that we could, and we don't have time for me to mention them all. Thank you. Vote.
Hi, I'm Kerry Clark, and I live in Canterbury. This is my second term serving on the Merrimack County Democratic Committee. I'm so glad you could be here at the Merrimack Dems Fall Harvest Festival today as we come together to elect Democrats up and down the ticket on November 3rd. This is such a critical election. I want to thank you for your support, your work, and for joining us here today. Take care.
Hi, my name's Chris Mueller, and I'm the chair of the Merrimack County Democrats. Welcome to the 2020 virtual Fall Harvest Festival. We're so glad you're here. I mean, we'd rather be at the Kimball Jenkins Estate sharing an incredible spread that Jennifer Buck put together for us, meeting you face to face and getting to hear and shake hands with some of the great Democrats on the ballot this fall. But we put together a great program for you, and we really hope you enjoy it. You're going to be hearing from candidates from Jeanne, Shaheen on down to some of the county officials. So please stay tuned to the end. Speaking of at the end, we're going to be putting an Act Blue link up at the end because tonight is all about raising money for our state senate and county office candidates here on the Democratic side of the aisle in Merrimack County. I was outside earlier running around checking out the foliage, and the leaves are turning. There's all sorts of campaign signs up. You can really tell an election's in the air. It's a great night for the Fall Harvest Festival. You may have noticed that I stopped for a fuel up when I was out running around earlier. It's like you've probably heard. Campaigns run on Act Blue. In fact, that's why we brought you all together tonight. We are looking to help with some last minute funding for some of our amazing state senate and county office candidates here in Merrimack County. So if you're able to, at the end of the program, please go to the Act Blue link and donate whatever you're able to, because here in New Hampshire with our small districts and the small size of Merrimack County, small donations really, really do have a big, big impact. So your donation of any size will really, really help these campaigns at a critical juncture in this most important election. So thank you for your support and enjoy the program. Thanks for coming, and thanks for all that you do to support Democrats here in Merrimack County.
Hello, Merrimack County Democrats. Congratulations on your virtual Harvest Fest, and to Chris Mueller and all of the Democrats who helped her make this happen. We are only about 3 weeks from the election now. We have a lot of work to do, and so much is riding on this election. We know it's about the future of the country. Are we going to be able to get ahead of this pandemic? Clearly, under the leadership of Donald Trump, that's not going to happen. With Mitch McConnell in the Senate, that is not going to happen. We need more testing and contact tracing. We need investment in a vaccine and therapeutics, and we need to have a consistent public message that says mask wearing and social distancing is what's going to help us get ahead of this pandemic. So we have a lot to do at the federal level. I've worked hard to try and bring help back to New Hampshire. The $1.25 billion that Chris Sununu keeps taking credit for. I think it's important to remind everybody that it came from the federal level and everyone in the federal delegation supported it. We brought back extended unemployment benefits and help for small businesses, for hospitals and frontline healthcare workers. And now we need a second package of support to help people get through this period. Once we get through this pandemic, with new leadership, we need to invest in our infrastructure and roads and bridges and water systems and high-speed internet to every home. We need to help with student loans and join the international community again in addressing climate change. We need to ensure that we support childcare and our schools so they can safely reopen fully. We have so much to do to get through in the future and to invest in this country. That's what I hope to continue to work on if I'm lucky enough to be reelected to the United States Senate. We've got to help everybody up and down the ballot. We need Dan Feltus in the corner office. We need Annie Kuster back in the House. Chris Pappas in the 1st District back in the House. And we need to hold on to the state Senate. Steve Shurtleff has done such a great job in the House. Donna Soucy has done such a great job as Senate President. We need to return Democratic control so that we can move this country and this state where it needs to be. So all of you are going to be so important as we think about how we get everybody out to the polls. You've got to talk to your social networks. This pandemic means we're not able to go door to door as we have in the past. So your effort to get people out, the people you know, your friends, your neighbors, all of the people who are part of your social networks are just so important. We need you to help me retire Colorado Corky back to the Rockies. We need you to help ensure that we elect Democrats up and down the ticket. So thank you all so much for everything you're doing. Let's hope for a big celebration after we get through this pandemic. We're all going to come together and hopefully we're going to have new leadership with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the White House, a Democratic Senate. We're going to throw Mitch McConnell out of leadership, and we're going to change the course of this country and restore the values that we all believe in. So thank you very much. Keep at it. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you, Senator. Next up, we're going to hear from Congresswoman Annie Kuster.
Hello, Merrimack County Democrats, and thank you, Chris, and your whole team for making this event possible. I wish we could all be together this evening. No matter where you are, I hope, like me, you're feeling energized and motivated to deliver the change we need at the very top in 2020. In 2018, you made calls and spoke with your neighbors about the importance of electing leaders who share our values and will fight for hardworking families all across New Hampshire. And I'm humbled by the support I received from all of you. Because of you, I'm able to go fight for Granite Staters in Washington, working to lower the cost of prescription drugs, delivering broadband to rural areas, protecting our environment, and expanding economic opportunity for everyone. I'm committed to continuing to fight for Merrimack County and for our entire state. So as we work to rebuild and strengthen our country in the wake of COVID-19, it's essential that we have policies in place that will lift up all Americans and their families. That's been my priority and the priority of Democrats in Congress. We helped deliver more than $4.2 billion to New Hampshire during COVID-19 to support our hospitals and healthcare workers, support small businesses through the Paycheck Protection Program and Main Street Fund, and help struggling individuals and their families. We'll keep fighting to follow science, not politics, by expanding testing and contact tracing, and getting a safe and effective vaccine so that all Americans can kick this pandemic once and for all. This election is so crucial for our future that we expand our Democratic majority in the New Hampshire State House of Representatives, that we elect Bill Bolton, Phil Spagnuolo, and Jenn Alford-Teaster and Becky Whitley to the New Hampshire State Senate, that we expand our majority on the Executive Council with Cindee Warmington and her colleagues, and send Chris Pappas and me back to the U.S. House, re-elect Shaheen to the U.S. Senate, and of course, we all know it's time to put Dan Feltus in the corner office in Concord and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the White House. For 3.5 years, we've seen this president and his Republican allies undermine our very values as a nation. They've sown division at a time when more than anything, we need to come together. So over the next 3 weeks, we need to work hard to deliver change in Concord and in Washington. And that starts right here tonight with all of you. This is truly the most important election in our lifetime, and all of you have an important role to play. So let's all commit to giving it everything we've got to deliver a big blue wave right here in New Hampshire. Thanks, and have a great night.
Hi everyone, it's Congressman Chris Pappas, and I hope you're excited to get out and vote on November 3rd. I'm hoping I can count on your support, but also when you go vote, make sure you vote for the entire Democratic ticket, including all 3 Democratic candidates in Hooksett for state representative, Harry Kozlowski, Madalasa Garoon, and Kathy Martins. It's really important they have your support on November 3rd. Thanks for all you do, and stay safe.
Thank you, Congressman. And next up, we have a message for the voters of Merrimack County from State Senator and our next governor, Dan Feltus.
Merrimack County Democrats, it's great to be with you virtually at the Harvest Fest this year. We got 20 days to go to win this. We got to win up and down the ballot. All of our issues and values are on the ballot. This is the most consequential election of our state and nation's history, and everything we care about is at stake. The future we care about is at stake. We got to reject the Trump-Sununu agenda. The Trump-Sununu agenda that's anti-choice. Chris Sununu, like Donald Trump, supports the nomination and confirmation of judges that would work to make abortion illegal, including supporting Brett Cavanaugh, supporting an anti-choice activist to the New Hampshire Supreme Court. I'm going to appoint a pro-choice woman to the New Hampshire Supreme Court. On health care, it's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it. Chris Sununu, like Donald Trump, supports the repeal of Obamacare. And in fact, when asked why Chris Sununu supports Donald Trump, he said Trump would work to finally actually end horrible programs like Obamacare. That's what he said. And Chris Sununu, it's no surprise, calls himself, in his own words, a Trump guy through and through. Well, you know what? We're through with that. We got to move forward on healthcare. We got to lift working people and working families up. Focus on them, what's going on in their lives. Chris Sununu, just like Trump, did nothing on schools, has done nothing to plan moving forward. Cases are going up. We are in a worse situation than Maine or Vermont. We got to look out for ordinary people and get out of this mess in a way that works for them. That's what I've done my entire life as a legal aid lawyer, looking out for working people and working families, including during the last economic crisis, the Great Recession. And I come from a working class family myself. My dad worked in a furniture factory for 45 years. Same one, unair conditioned, doing the same job day in and day out. My mom, part-time work, including the night shift, while raising 4 kids. My dad wasn't governor, my brother wasn't a U.S. senator, and I was never gifted, like Chris Sununu, a ski resort. We got to look out for ordinary people. That's what this is all about to me. That's what public service is all about. Lifting people up, not tearing people down, fighting to include more people in our democracy and economy, and working for a real relief and recovery effort that works for everybody. Not just those at the top, not just corporate special interests that fuel Chris Sununu's re-election campaign. We got to look out for ordinary people. That's what we're going to do. And when we win this thing in 20 days, Granite Staters and working people in this state will finally have someone in their corner in the corner office.
Next up, let's talk about the Executive Council. If you live in District 1, please make sure that you help re-elect Mike Cryans and help him become the first Democrat to be re-elected in Executive Council District 1.
Hi, I'm Mark Mackenzie, and I am the Democratic nominee for the Executive Council in District 4. I've spent a lifetime serving my community and the working families of the state of New Hampshire. I was a city firefighter in Manchester for more than 25 years. I believe that government plays an important role in people's lives. And I also believe that accountability and transparency are important. And I promise that you will know how your money is being spent in the Executive Council. I am Mark Mackenzie. I'm asking for your support for Executive Council District 4. Thank you.
Coming up, we're going to hear from Deb Pignatelli speaking to her constituents in Dunbarton. That's Executive Council District 5. And then we're going to hear from Cindee Warmington, the next Executive Councilor from District 2.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deborah Pignatelli, running for re-election to the New Hampshire Executive Council. This would be my 6th term if I'm re-elected, and I've enjoyed the job and think I do a pretty good job of it. I promise if I'm re-elected to carefully watch how our money is being spent and to use my voice and my vote to have a moderate and reasonable Supreme Court in this state. Thank you very much. I ask for your vote on November 3rd. Or before if you're filling out an absentee ballot. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Merrimack County Democrats. I'm Cindee Warmington, the Democratic nominee for the District 2 Executive Council seat, and I want to thank you for having me with you for your annual Fall Harvest Fest. And I especially want to thank you for everything you're doing to make sure we win up and down the ballot in this election. You know, it was last year at this very event when you invited me to come and speak. It was the first time I had spoken as a candidate anywhere, and I was so grateful for the warm welcome you gave me. You launched me forward, and I look forward to a time when I can thank you all in person. I would like to take just a minute to talk about the Executive Council and why it's so important in this election. The Executive Council, as you know, plays a critical role in approving state contracts and appointments to state agencies, boards, and commissions, and also judicial nominations. Significantly, the governor has left the position of Chief Justice of our Supreme Court open for more than a year after the council rejected his nominee. He has stated his intention to gain control of the Executive Council and to re-nominate Gordon MacDonald to that position. If we care about reproductive rights, voting rights, marriage equality, and all of our other fundamental rights, we simply cannot let that happen. We must keep a Democratic majority on the Executive Council. The Council, as you know, acts as a check on the governor. And I want to tell you, the single best way that we can check Governor Sununu is to get out and elect Dan Feltus governor. Let's go do that. And we need to make sure we keep a Democratic majority on the Executive Council. The Executive Council really is our last line of defense. Everything that we believe in is on the line in this election. And we have less than 3 weeks to go, and every one of us needs to take action now. Let's take out a piece of paper. Let's write down the names of 5 friends or family members who we're going to call and make sure they have a plan to vote. Let's take out our calendars and mark every day with something we will do to make sure we win this election. Can we make another phone call? Maybe a lit drop? Can you put up a yard sign? Can you write a letter to the editor? Can you do something every day? This election is about Democrats standing up and saying who we are and what we believe in. And if we do that, we will win, and our country will win. And we can wake up in an America where health care is recognized as a basic human right, where every child can get a decent education, where working families can put food on the table, a roof over their heads, send their kids to school, and retire with dignity. It's not too much to ask. We can wake up in an America where we recognize our strength is in our diversity, where we recognize climate change is a threat to all humanity, where we recognize that women can be trusted to make their own health care decisions. We can do this, Merrimack County Dems. I know we can. Let's go fight like our country depends on it, because it does. Good night. Thank you all.
Okay, so next up, we're going to hear from some of our state Senate candidates. We have a question that Jennifer Alford-Teaster answered for a voter. We have a segment with Phil up in Senate District 7. That's the Franklin area for us, from the Franklin Candidates Night. And we have a video from Bill Bolton and a clip that Becky Whitley did for community access television that just hasn't gotten enough views. So we're going to show it to you now. Enjoy.
What kinds of experience, skills, and passions do you possess that you believe will help you be an accessible, compassionate, and effective public servant / senator?
Well, my lived experience is a unique one. I grew up in New Hampshire. I grew up with a single mom who had 3 kids before she was 18, and my brother at 23, and we lived in poverty my entire childhood. Throughout my young adulthood, I moved to North Carolina with nothing but $265 and 2 suitcases, and found myself at a minimum wage job where I eventually, because I couldn't eat every day, got sick and passed out. And the folks I work for encouraged me to go to college, and here we are, fast forward into my 40s, and I have 2 master's degrees, and I work at Dartmouth College in the Geisel School of Medicine as a senior research scientist. And I genuinely believe that the struggles that I've endured over the last 2 decades make me the person that I am today, and allows me to be able to connect with people across the socioeconomic divide in a way that a lot of other legislators can't, because I know the impact of the programs like public education, affordable access to health care, and also I know what it feels like to suffer, and so that's something I'd like to alleviate for other people in our district and to help everybody reach their potential.
All right, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. Mr. Suford, always good to see you, sir.
Yes, it is here, Phil. So give us your name and what office you're running for, Phil.
I'm Phil Spagnuolo, and I am running for Senate District 7. And I live in Laconia and hope to represent District 7 in the Senate.
So, Phil, what do you think about the current funding for mental health in the state of New Hampshire and how that interplays with drug addiction, be it meth, COVID, and how our population is dealing with that?
Yeah, so, you know, New Hampshire has a long history of falling short in this area. Our mental health providers are few and far between. We have, you know, a small state hospital in Concord. So what ends up happening is folks will sit in an emergency room in a hospital for days and sometimes weeks, or they will be locked up in a jail cell, having committed no crime other than having a mental health issue, and will be held there until they can find some place else. Scenarios are absolutely unacceptable. And when you cross that with you know, the addiction issue, where we also fall short with, we are somewhere between 48th and 49th for the availability of treatment beds for drug addiction and alcoholism. I don't know where we are in that spectrum with mental health beds, but I would guess somewhere around the bottom. I think worse is West Virginia. So, these are areas that we have fallen short on for a really long time. We end up spending more money in the long run incarcerating people, keeping them in emergency rooms. As we know, the most expensive place to keep anybody is in an emergency room. So we're spending the money one way or another, and in most cases, we're spending more in the long run. So we need to do better.
Dealing with the budget shortfall that the next legislature will most likely have to deal with, do you think that we have a good COVID economic recovery plan in place? And how would we strengthen that if you were elected?
So the relief plan that's in place scares me. I've seen some things already, that small business owners are being left behind, while places like Sunglasses Hut and other large corporations who that aren't owned by New Hampshire residents are being given millions of dollars, in COVID relief. So when I see things like that, I'm not real optimistic that we're doing what's right for our constituents. I know a couple of innkeepers, who are small business owners who have worked really hard and have gotten $0. But the Sunglass Hut kiosk at the mall got $1.5 million. Like, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. How do we make up for the shortfall? Well, look, there are lots of things happening in Concord that we need to take a look at. I believe that there's money that can be saved from different agencies, and I think we have to be careful. But I think that we can look at some agencies and see where we can save some money. But I think the biggest single thing that we can do is stop giving out-of-state corporations tax breaks and let them pay their fair share of doing business in the state of New Hampshire. I think that we are too quick to give tax breaks to large corporations and not help people like the small business owners in our state and in our district. Our district has been left behind by Concord for too long. People are suffering. This COVID has exposed the suffering, but the suffering has existed way before COVID. We've been ignored way before COVID. If you want to talk about rooms and meals tax and the return on rooms and meals tax, shifting all of this onto the local municipalities and the tax and property tax increases, because people are already overburdened by property taxes. And if we don't find a way to keep that from happening, this is only going to get worse.
Thank you, Phil. Any last comments you'd like to give to the voters of the greater Franklin area?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that we are facing really uncertain times. We have we have some real challenges coming up for us. I think that I come from a unique perspective. I'm a person in long-term recovery from drugs and alcohol. So when it comes to the opioid crisis, there's nobody that knows it better inside and out than I do. I've worked, with people within the mental health field that directly correlates with the substance use field that I work in. And I grew up watching my mom and dad work really, really hard to provide for us. And I'm tired of seeing that the working class guy or family being left behind. And, my opponent, who, although a very nice guy, and he's got better jokes than I do, and he'd be a better guy to sit down and have a beer with, mostly because I don't drink. But the other part of it is that, he's had his chance. And his record shows that, he hasn't done what's best for the constituents. I'm not about party. I'm not about doing what my party wants or what my party says. I'm about doing what's best for my constituents and to ending the suffering of my constituents. And I think that it's time that we get a change in that seat. So thank you.
Bill, it's good to see you again. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Bill Bolton, and I'm running for the New Hampshire State Senate in District 2. And I'm very pleased to be part of the Merrimack County Fall Harvest Festival. And I thank Chris for inviting me to be part of this event. District 2 consists of 27 towns, mostly in Grafton County, but I share 3 towns in Merrimack County as well. It's Wilmette, Danbury, and Hill. All of my district falls within Executive Councilor Mike Ryan's district, but I also border a couple of towns of Cindee Warmington's district as well. Arguably, I think Cindee Warmington's district probably borders every other district in the state of New Hampshire, but that will probably be remediated when we redistrict. I fully expect to ride the coattails of both Mike and Cindy's popularity with the upcoming election, and I'm very honored to share a ballot with Mike Ryan's. As for introduction, I just want to introduce you to the rain that's coming down right now. It's been very dry lately, so this is a welcome event, even though I'm getting wet. I'm a 30-year retired state employee. I was pretty much working in the field of public health for most of that career. I also became proficient in IT, and I developed software when I was the state registrar and director of the Division of Vital Records Administration. I think the background of both public health and IT are great tools to be present in the pandemic. I think the COVID pandemic has presented several issues where my background would be both good and appreciated. I'm a 3-term Plymouth Select Board member. I'm the current chair of the board, and I've been very active in our municipality and doing other things such as the planning board and the chair of the Pemigewasset River Local Advisory Committee. So again, another good tool that will help me in my work as a state senator. It's extremely important that we get this election right. Too much is at stake, and we need to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. The pendulum must start its swing back to normalcy, and I want to be part of the legislature when that happens to help push it along. Thank you very much. I appreciate your vote, and have a great festival.
My name is Becky Whitley, and I'm running for New Hampshire Senate to represent Concord, Henniker, Hopkinton, and Warner. I'm a lawyer and a mother. My roots and future are right here in New Hampshire. I want that future to be one we are proud to pass on to the next generation. I'm running to be the voice of working parents and the next generation of Granite Staters. We face many challenges: recovering from a public health emergency, an ensuing economic crisis, a severely strained public school system, and an ongoing mental health, substance misuse, child protection, and climate crisis, an aging population deserving of economic security, working families seeking livable wages. None of this is new. These are long-standing barriers to protecting the Granite State's unique beauty, health, and future. We need the fresh perspective, on-the-ground experience, and policy expertise I will bring to the hard job of delivering concrete, meaningful progress to New Hampshire. And I know how to get the job done. At the Disability Rights Center, I help families caught in the web of our dangerously bureaucratic healthcare system receive necessary care. I advocated for climate solutions at Mom's Clean Air Force and have the know-how to fight for clean and renewable energy that will preserve the Granite State's natural beauty, so integral to our health and economy. No parent should have to choose whether to call the police or sit in the emergency room for days when their child is in crisis. That's why, as policy director for the Children's Behavioral Health Collaborative, I worked with Democrats and Republicans to pass legislation increasing services for children in need. I believe strong public schools are the heart of our communities, yet the struggle continues to keep them properly funded. I'll push for broad reforms that are more equitable and put an end to divisiveness within our small towns. We face tough challenges, but I believe we can overcome them by working together. This is my home, and I want it to be the best place to live and work. I believe we can reimagine how to make a healthy New Hampshire for everyone, regardless of race, gender identity, zip code, or economic status. That's what I have done as a disability rights lawyer, a climate activist, and a healthcare advocate. It's what I'll do as your state senator from District 15.
Hello, Merrimack Dems. This is Senator Kevin Cavanaugh, and I apologize for not being able to be with you tonight. I do have another commitment, but I just want to thank you all for all the hard work you've done for candidates up and down the ballot. This real fight started 4 years ago, and we've got to tell all our friends and family how important it is to get out to vote. And I really appreciate all the work all of you have done for me and so many other candidates. Hopefully I'm lucky enough to get back to the Senate. I'm very proud of the reversed auction that we did a lot of work on to lower prescription drugs for New Hampshire residents, with the potential savings over 3 years of $53 million. And you know, I will always fight for working families, and if I can get back there, I'll continue doing that and continue working to have full, adequate funding for public education. So hang in there, everyone. And as I'm recording this right now, there's 15 days left, and we can't let our foot off the gas. Everything you can do, anyone you can talk to, please have them get out there and vote safely. So thank you, and 2 more weeks. Here we go, folks. Thanks for having me tonight. Have a great meeting. Bye.
All right. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what district you're running in and a couple reasons that you're running for state senate.
My name is Nancy Fraher, and I am the Democratic candidate in District 17. And I stepped up to the plate because I could not tolerate John Reagan running unopposed for that particular Senate seat. I ran up, though I lost, I ran I think, successfully in 12 and 14. And I've kind of kept my connections within the district. And again, I'm passionate about schools. I'm passionate, and both Jenn and I can talk about mental health and the pandemic, as our husbands both work at the state hospital. But it's just a campaign where we need to be involved. We need to strive to make our district better. And I'm here because though I haven't been as involved in the last number of years, it's important for the people of our district to have a choice. And so I'm offering that opportunity.
Great. So is there anything else that you think that the voters of District 17 should know about you?
Well, I'm a retired 35-year school teacher. I served on the Chichester School Board as its chair. I've served on our district school board as chair. I'm involved in the community around us. I think I'd be a very good senator as I listen and willing to learn. I'm kind of a behind the scenes, get the work done kind of girl. Tell me once and I'll keep on working. Like I say, it hasn't been like the biggest campaign that Merrimack County has ever seen, but we are out there and we're trying to make a difference.
Well, we absolutely appreciate you stepping up because it's really important that we don't let any of these seats go uncontested. So on behalf of everyone in the Merrimack County part of your district, thank you so much for running for state senate.
Here, here.
And now for our county official candidates. We're going to hear from Mario Ratzki, who's the chair of the Andover Democrats and is running for county commissioner in District 2. We're going to hear from David Croft, Merrimack County's next sheriff, and county attorney Robin Davis.
My name is Mario Ratzki, and I'm running for County Commissioner for Merrimack County District 2. That would be Allenstown, Andover, Chichester, Canterbury, Epsom, Franklin, Hill, Loudon, Northfield, Pembroke, Pittsfield, and Salisbury. Some of you may remember me as a state representative from Andover, Danbury, and Salisbury. I was known in the House as Mr. Flood Control. I was the prime sponsor of bills that resulted in Franklin, Hill, and Salisbury getting their flood control monies, which had been withheld by Bill O'Brien in 2010 and 2011. I was also instrumental in getting $1.1 million from the state of Massachusetts for flood control money they owed us. In the House, I created the Coalition of Legislators Against Downshifting, known as CLAD. Our first guest was none other than then Franklin Mayor Ken Merrifield. I promised the following: transparency. I will publish articles monthly, as I did when I was state representative, telling constituents what the commission is working on. Constituent service, I was known in my district as a representative one could go to for help, regardless of party affiliation. Fiscal responsibility, I voted repeatedly to increase the rainy day fund as fiscally prudent. Got money for the state and for the towns. I am a taxpayer, and I will scour the details of the county budget, now at $93 million, for potential savings. I will also look at the 100+ acres that the county owns for possible avenues of income. Finally, I ask everyone to end our national nightmare. Please vote for Biden, Harris, and all the Democratic candidates down the ballot and on the flip side, where you will find me, Mario Ratzki. If you get to Mario Ratzki, you've done your job. I respectfully ask for everyone's votes on November 3rd, and I thank you very much.
Citizens of Merrimack County, my name is Dave Croft, and I'm running for election as your next Merrimack County Sheriff. I would like to share my experience with you and why I am passionate about further service to our county and local communities. From 1977 to 1983, I proudly chose to serve our country as a United States Marine, finishing my tour of duty as a sergeant and mentor to young men and women wishing to become Marines. Enjoying my service but missing home, I chose to serve my country and community locally, leading me to begin a career in New Hampshire law enforcement. First as a correctional officer with the Merrimack County Department of Corrections, and then in 1984, becoming a part-time police officer for the town of Boscawen, New Hampshire. I worked hard in Boscawen, eventually moving into a full-time position, becoming a sergeant, and then being chosen to be Boscawen's chief of police in 1997, proudly serving the town for over 2 decades. After retiring in 2007, I have worked as the director of the Alternative to Sentencing program for the Merrimack County Attorney. I simultaneously became and remain today a deputy with the Merrimack County Sheriff's Office, assigned to the County Attorney's Office. In this position, I've been able to utilize my skills learned from the years of serving our communities to design and implement programs that assist adults in the criminal justice system. These programs are customized to individual needs and act as a critical component in each individual's rehabilitation. One of my programs received the National Association of Counties Award in 2013. Both as chief of police and in my current role, I've had the opportunity to work with all the towns and cities in Merrimack County, providing expertise and/or assistance to many other town and government officials over the years. Becoming sheriff would be a natural extension of these years of work and experience and would be an easy conversion for me as I continue to support and assist citizens in the communities of Merrimack County. Having been the police chief of a small New England town for many years, I understand the difficulties and strains that come with this responsibility. Being a natural fiscal conservative, I've always worked hard to stretch every dollar while remaining within a budget. The challenge is to give the taxpayers, you, the services which they rely on and pay for. In my experience, this takes fortitude, focus, intelligence, and mostly years of experience honed firmly by working with communities and taxpayers, experience that I firmly believe I bring to the office of sheriff. I've had the experience preparing, presenting, and managing a budget, and I am very familiar with the county budget process, having been responsible for the last 13 years of overseeing close to $1 million operating budget. I work closely with the county administrator, the county board of commissioners, and the county delegation. The transition from my current role as the director of the diversion center to county sheriff would be a very easy one. Additionally, first and foremost, the day-to-day services that the Merrimack County Sheriff's Office must provide would be scrutinized daily to ensure that each dollar raised by our taxpayers is appropriately spent to perform the important constitutional duties of the office of sheriff. As your Merrimack County Sheriff, I would make sure that your hard-earned dollars are spent appropriately and towards the future of a safer and stronger county. I also feel that it's time to look at other ways to hold minor offenders accountable without them having to receive the heavy burden of a conviction. Empowering them with the tools and education they need to become responsible, contributing citizens would in turn save countless tax dollars. When elected, I will assign a deputy to work with the prosecutors when an individual is arrested and identified as having either a mental health issue or a substance use disorder, or both. That deputy would immediately start working with that individual to get them into treatment, get them housing, employment, and insurance if needed. These are all skills that I have acquired over the last 13 years at the Diversion Center. This in turn would give the courts and other options in dealing with a defendant other than incarceration when they come before them. My office will also continue to serve and assist our towns and communities in whatever it is they are in need of, whether it may be an investigation or something as simple as helping with traffic enforcement, while helping to keep taxpayer costs down through teamwork, bulk equipment purchasing, and working together for the good of Merrimack County. In closing, my family and I, along with our 3 dogs, live in the beautiful town of Salisbury. We enjoy the outdoors and take pride in our roots in the great state of New Hampshire. I look forward to earning the position of Merrimack County Sheriff and working closely with its citizens to provide the best possible law enforcement services. Your assistance in partnering with me on this endeavor would be greatly appreciated. I welcome your questions, and you can contact me through my website at croftforsheriff.com. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Robin. Another old friend. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what office you're running for?
I'm Robin Davis. I'm currently the Merrimack County Attorney.
Let me ask you a different question. Legalization of marijuana.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that as the chief law enforcement officer for the Merrimack County?
Legalization of marijuana is not something that I would personally do. That would be a legislative move. However, I think over time and with the opioid epidemic, what we've seen is that our struggles here in New Hampshire have to do with things like opioids, methamphetamine, things of that nature. I also think what we've seen is the legalization of marijuana in many of the neighboring states. So I think at this point, I think New Hampshire is at a point where it should consider the legalization of marijuana, obviously under regulation and with an age requirement, much like alcohol. But I think the horse has left the barn as far as the legalization of marijuana, and I think it's something that New Hampshire needs to consider very seriously. Until it's legalized, obviously, as the county attorney, we will prosecute those cases. Generally, what I can tell you is marijuana cases generally go to alternative sentencing, where there's more of a rehabilitative portion to it than a criminal portion to it. It's already been decriminalized, with the exception of large amounts. So I think at this point, it is sort of low on the scale of drugs and when it comes to criminalization. So that's my standpoint on that.
Let's deal with something that you probably do deal with as a prosecutor, the access to health care, mental health care, and treatment for drug addiction. Because I would assume that as a chief prosecutor, you deal with a number of defendants who probably have mental health or drug issues that end up in the court system versus the healthcare system.
Yes.
So what would you like to promote if you had the magic wand on access to mental health and drug insurance, treatment, medical personnel, so that you have less to deal with in the court system?
Sure. So I've been a prosecutor and a public defender throughout my career. And what I can tell you is in dealing with either with prosecuting criminal behavior or representing folks that are in the criminal justice system is that the root of criminal behavior generally is either substance abuse or mental health issues that go unaddressed. So I'm very interested in folks in the community having access to medical care and mental health care, because I think if we can prevent some of those issues and treat some of those issues before they get into the criminal system, that we will greatly reduce the number of defendants that we have in the criminal system. So I would suggest that New Hampshire think about voting for folks who are for healthcare for all, because if you have an injury and you're able to get medical treatment for it or prescription drugs for it, you are less likely to self-medicate either with alcohol, street drugs, other people's drugs, things of that nature. If you have a mental health issue, whether it's anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, things of those nature, then either you can identify that, or if you have a healthcare provider, they can help you identify that. And if you can get medications or counseling or other services like that, you're more likely to stabilize yourself prior to having some sort of criminal behavior. And that will keep you out of that particular system, keep you from engaging in criminal behavior, keep you out of the house of corrections, where it costs a great deal of money to house people. It costs the citizens about $200 a day to incarcerate someone at the house of corrections. And it will also save you on the other end, because when people are not incarcerated, they are at their jobs, they're paying their rent, they're taking care of their children. And so on the other end, I think all community members benefit from the fact that people are not engaging in criminal behavior. So it's really a win-win.
Thank you. Any last comments you'd like to give to the voters of the Greater Franklin area?
I would just like to say that in the 2 years that I've been here as the county attorney, my philosophy has really been to hold people accountable for their criminal behavior, but also give them an opportunity to move forward. I think most of us know that when someone comes into the criminal justice system, at some point they're going to come back into your community. And so I think when someone's in the criminal justice system, they have to be held accountable for their actions, and we can do that in a number of ways. There's incarceration, but Merrimack County is very fortunate to have a number of alternative sentencing programs, like the diversion program that Mr. Croft runs. We have a pretrial service program, which allows people who have just come into the criminal justice system and are on bail. They're able to be supervised and get into programming for drugs and alcohol and things of that nature. And so we can try and turn people around very early on. So if we can hold them accountable, but also give them the opportunity to address whatever issues got them there, then I think when we return them back to the community to be your neighbors, your employees, we push them forward. Therefore, we've made a much stronger and safer community on the other end. So if you agree with those positions, then I would ask for your vote on November 3rd.
Robin, thank you for your years of service to this.
Thank you.
We appreciate all that you do to support Democrats here in Merrimack County. If you missed the Act Blue link, don't worry. We'll send it out again and again and again. And we appreciate any support that you can offer to help fund some of our state Senate candidates and county office candidates. Now, get your absentee ballot out. Sign up at Mobilize to do some phone calls and help with some lit drops. And thank you for all that you do to support Democrats here in Merrimack County. Have a great night.